Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we're diving into a topic that's been making headlines across the country, the urban doom loop. This phenomenon is threatening major American cities like New York and San Francisco, and it's all tied to the rise of remote work and the decline of office occupancy. So let's get into it. The debate over whether or not to return to the office is far from settled, and yet the push to get employees back to the office is getting more aggressive. Goldman Sachs want employees in the office 5 days a week. Google is factoring employees in office attendance into their performance reviews. A whopping 90% of companies plan to implement return to the office policies by the end of 2024, according to an August report from Resume Builder, which surveyed 1,000 company leaders. Nearly 30% say their companies will threaten to fire employees who don't comply with in-office requirements. Only 2% of business leaders said their company never planned to require employees to work in person. So, this doom loop, what is it mean, and where does it come from? The urban doom loop is a term coined by economists to describe a vicious cycle that's been triggered by the rise of remote work. During the COVID pandemic, about 70% of college-educated workers did some or all of their work from home. In New York City, physical office occupancy rates fell to just 10%. This shift has led to a significant drop in the valuation of office buildings. In fact, a study by researchers at NYU and Columbia University projects that the valuation of New York City office buildings will fall 43.9% by 2029. This decline in property value has a direct impact on city revenues, as property taxes form a significant portion of their funding. Now, take a look at this chart on the screen. As property values fall, so do tax revenues, forcing cities to cut spending on public safety, sanitation, transportation, education. This in turn makes the city a less attractive place to live, leading to further declines in property values and tax revenues. So the doom loop continues. You get it? It's a vicious cycle. So as a city needs money to function, they raise taxes, which makes things more expensive. People can't afford it. They leave. Then the city needs more money. You get it. So it goes round and round like the merry-go-round, basically. New York City in particular is feeling the impact of this doom loop. A report by New York City comptroller highlighted that under a doomsday scenario in which office property valuation declined 40% in total from 2023 to 2029, total New York City property tax receipt will still grow through 2027. However, the growth will be significantly slower, and the city will have to grapple with the budgetary consequences of vacant commercial office buildings. When the city is facing a budget gap, they get creative on how to basically fund those gaps. One of the strategies that New York City is implementing to mitigate the impact of the doom loop is congestion pricing. So here's what we know so far. The MTA board has approved a plan to charge tolls for vehicles entering the central business district, which stretches from the 60th Street in Manhattan and below all the way down to the southern tip of the financial district. Passenger vehicles will be charged $15. Trucks will be charged anywhere between $24 to $36, depending on the size, and motorcycles will be charged $7.50. The full day rates will be in effect from 5 in the morning, 5 a.m. until 9 p.m. each weekday, and 9 a.m. until 9 p.m. on weekends. The board called for toll rates in the off hours from 9 p.m. to 5 a.m. on weekdays and 9 p.m. to 9 a.m. on weekends to be about 75% less, about $3.50 instead of the $15 for a passenger vehicle. Drivers will only be charged to enter the zone, not to leave it or stay in it. That means that residents who enter the CBD and circle their block to look for parking won't be charged. Only one toll will be levied per day. So anyone who enters the area, then leaves and returns will still only be charged the toll one time for that day. Small businesses will especially be impacted by this change, as goods and services will cost more inside of the toll zone, putting them at a competitive disadvantage with businesses operating outside of the toll zone. Bars and restaurants will have to pass the cost to customers. These business owners fear the additional cost will deter people from visiting their establishments. And that makes sense. I get that. These small businesses are already struggling from COVID-19 shutdown. These are legitimate concerns, although some small businesses are in favor of this new change. So only time will tell how all of this will eventually play out. Meanwhile, the MTA will use the revenue from this new toll to fund improvements to the reliability, accessibility, and sustainability of the public transit system. See, while the doom loop presents a significant challenge, it's not inevitable. So, what does the future hold for buildings in cities like New York? Some experts suggest that these buildings need to be repurposed. For example, Eric Adams, the mayor of New York City, has a plan to rezone parts of Midtown to spur more housing construction. This would involve converting office and manufacturing spaces into apartments, creating a more residential mixed-use area. The city also believed that this would bring about 20,000 new apartment units. However, this is not a quick fix. Converting commercial space into residential units is a complex process, requiring significant investment and time, but is a step in the right direction. And it could help to break the urban doom loop and revitalize the city. The urban doom loop is a complex issue with far-reaching implications, but with strategic planning and innovative solutions, cities can navigate these challenges and create a vibrant, sustainable future. That's all for today's video. If you found this informative, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more insight. Until next time, stay informed.